Shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Abishai, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity. Shalom to the scattered elect that are scattered among the heathen around the four corners of the earth, being unlike to the speckled bird. To the Aquas that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. This video is a response to the Dave Hodges Common Sense Show, Red Alert. Putin's very negative reaction to Hillary's presidency. One of the most serious and powerful videos that I've seen in the last few weeks as far as information is concerned about the prophecies and the coming things that are going to happen. And, this was one that I had to sit down in front of the computer to do a response to. I wanted to respond to it immediately, but, time didn't permit, doing the little quick hits on the road and things like that. This is when I actually had to sit down. So this should have been done a couple days ago, but this is the first time I actually got a chance to just sit in front of the computer and do it. So I've been hot to do this video. So I'm gonna let this video is about a 25-minute video. I'm gonna let like the first 9 minutes of it play and bring out some scriptures and do commentary, and then I'm gonna dissect it and bring out, it'll probably be a part 2, maybe even a part 3. All right, Yahweh Ratazah. So with that, buckle up your seatbelts.
It is not an exaggeration by any stretch of the imagination to say that this is a red alert broadcast. Dots are connecting, and in the last 45 minutes, I've been compiling information from trusted and reliable sources about President Putin and his concerns about what's going on politically inside the United States.
Now, I must say, this is the first time I've ever seen Dave Hodges' face. Normally, you just hear his voice and you see the image of the board with the Dave Hodges Common Sense Show with the chain and shackles broken behind you. That's usually what's on the screen when you're hearing him speak. All right, like you can see on his coffee mug there. This is actually the first time I've seen him in the flesh, what he actually looks like. That alone in itself lets me know how serious it is, because he's been broadcasting for a number of years the upcoming destruction of and fall of America's financial system. All right, and then of course he's a Christian, so he's got those twisted, warped Christian views, about the rapture and all that other mess, that lack of understanding. That God is for everybody who believes in that whole sort of thing, and that the Lord's name is Jesus. It's 2019, man, about to be 2020. And 2020 is not looking good at all. Just a little tidbit of information. America's not going to have enough food to feed its population in 2020 because of the past things that happened with the crops this year and the year before.
And as I said, when I'm done, you're going to agree this is absolutely a red alert broadcast. My name is Dave Hodges. I am the host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. And we need you to definitely share this information far and wide with as many people as you can, because forewarned is forearmed. And I am gravely concerned.
Forewarned is forearmed. You can't arm yourself and prepare if you have no warning. That scripture's about that. About the watchmen that sit upon the gates, and the ones who sound the alarm and those who don't. All right?
About a turn of events, a major event that could happen unannounced at any time in our future. It could happen before I'm done with this broadcast. It could happen in 5 weeks, 5 months. But I will tell you this issue will be decided probably by the end of the year. and you're going to see what I mean by this. And we are brought to you by preparewithdave.com. Anytime you're looking at a potential societal disruption like the one I'm going to be talking to you about, you need to have food, water, guns, gold, ammo, medicine, tools, and of course the Bible.
Right. Food, ammo, guns, gold, tools, and of course the Bible. Because it's coming, man. All right? These Edomites wouldn't spend millions preparing, billions preparing the bunkers and the food and their storages, if this thing wasn't real. But, you niggas and spiggers is too busy watching Bad Bunny and the rhythm flow, watching housewives worried about the football stats and basketball stats, what LeBron is doing, instead of worrying about your salvation and your future. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. The plagues are already upon America. That's why you're going to have almost no food come 2020, which is just a couple months away. When the food shortages hit, look, the retail apocalypse is still going. The biggest retail in the world has laid off over 42,000 people already. That's Walmart. Now, Walmart caused all these other small mom and pop and smaller stores to shut down. Now Walmart is starting to shut down. All right? They're getting ready to heavily tax Uber and Lyft because a lot of these people that were out of work started doing Uber and Lyft, which has caused major traffic problems here in big cities like Chicago. I'm sure in New York and LA as well. Chicago is just rush hour all day long. Why? Because you got so many Uber and Lyfts on the road, and now they want to tax them. So it's going to make it to the point where Uber and Lyft is not going to be even worth doing because you're not going to make enough money, because the owners aren't going to take the hit. They're going to pass it down to the drivers, to the people who are driving for a living now, because it's the only job that has some sort of dignity to it, to some of these people. I see old elderly people, old Jewish people doing Uber and Lyft. Retired people doing Uber and Lyft. And now they're getting ready to take that away. This place is finished. All right? Verse 12. Egypt shall mourn in the foundation and punishment that God shall bring upon it. They shall till the ground. They that till the ground shall mourn. The farmers are mourning big time. A little extra tidbit of information too. A lot of the farmers are now planting and growing only for the militias, for the alt-right militias, those alternative, those E's that are into the High Hitler symbols and things of that nature that support Trump. All right, because there's about to be an uprising, and the militias and the farmers are getting ready, are growing food just for the militias. All right, so there's getting ready to be civil unrest and division in America big time. All right, and that food is going to bring it on, which also can help usher in the chip. Back to verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail. That was all those crazy storms that the Most High sent. All right, and messed up the food supply for Babylon, for Egypt. And the fearful constellation, woe to the world and them that dwell in therein. All right. And there's another scripture which I can't think of right now that talks about how there'll be no water for 3 days. I can't remember where it is right now. It's driving me nuts. But nevertheless, all those things are coming, man. That's what's on the table. And that's why Dave Hodges actually showed his face on this Red Alert video.
We can help you with the food. Absolutely help you with the food. 40% off, restaurant quality. You can accumulate in small distributions, but nonetheless, the average American will run out of food in 14 days. That's 90% of us, according to FEMA studies. Don't be one of those people. Plan now, prepare ahead. The worst thing you do is eat your mistake, but you will not be eating your mistake. We are headed for major societal disruption. It's just a matter of which one is going to get here first.
Yep.
Preparewithdave.com is the place to go. I'm going to gather my thoughts here for a second. This is absolutely stunning material. I want to start with what's known, and I'm sure a lot of you will remember this. After Donald Trump was elected and after he was inaugurated, a story leaked out of Russia, and it was pretty widely reported in our domain, not the mainstream media. And it went like this. If Hillary Clinton were elected to be the president, the Russians had seriously considered launching a first nuclear strike against the United States. And I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this right now recall this in all seriousness. This is not hyperbole. I covered this. I made a broadcast about it. I wrote about it in print. And I said, praise God, Donald Trump, Putin could relax. We're going to really unwrap all this. I've reported in the last...
And see, here's where it backfired. Because this is how cold the Lord is. And how foolish man is. Because the Lord says, my ways are above your ways. It's probably true that if Hillary had gotten elected, we would have gone into World War III right away. Or very quickly. We wouldn't have lasted her whole term. All right? But clearly the Lord had different plans. All right? Meaning that all the elect wasn't sealed yet. The Lord does things in his time. There's still, people waking up. And although I'm going to recant that statement, I think that the elect is all awake at this point. But nevertheless, going back to 2016 when Trump came in, the elect wasn't sealed yet. All right? Now, with Trump in office, what Trump has done was what really Hillary didn't do. Trump has driven off so many of our allies, which ensures that when the arrows begin to fly, the arrows of allies turned enemies are going to come back this way. So now America has way more enemies, or as the youth says, the gangbanging community here in Chicago says ops. All right? America now has ops that used to be friends. So if it would have happened with Hillary, America wouldn't have had as many ops. All right? So that goes to show you how cold the Lord is, man. The Lord is making sure that when it goes down, this place goes all the way down. Because all these nations are going to turn on Babylon. They're all sick of these Edomites here in America, man. You got even Edomites in America sick of Edomites in America. If you could only hear the things that was being said by this Edomite woman, Jamie, yesterday, about her own people and about her president. All right? This thing, hey, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good at all.
Two days, that the Chinese have been putting surface-to-air missiles all through Africa. Not only that, I reported in the past that they have put them in to various countries in the neighborhood of South Africa, where they are there right now expelling white South African farmers from their land.
You hear that? Edomites are being expelled off that land and nothing is being done about it. If you are foolish enough to believe that you are not witnessing the fall of the Edomite, because the Chinese have come in there and they're helping, they came in there with their military, and what the South Africans couldn't do, the Chinese did it. Because the Chinese had the military might to go in there and force all those farmers to give back all that stolen land that they've taken over there. All right, calling themselves South Africans when you're from the mountains of Mount Seir. All right, before you were forced into the Caucasus Mountains, which aren't in Europe, by the way. Caucasus Mountains are not in Europe, so European and Caucasus Mountain don't even go together. You're not the real Europeans either. You people are imposters, you're exposed, and it is not looking good for you. This is and he said they're setting up missiles. This is Isaiah 5:28, whose arrows are sharp and all their bows bent. Their horses' hooves shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. What wheels you know are like a whirlwind, man? Right? And besides, those arrows are really the arrows of Yahweh, because his spirit is going to take over those arrows and guide them so that none of them miss. All right? That scripture I'll probably bring out in part 2. Okay, so all those missiles are going to hit their mark, because those missiles that these heathens have are really the missiles of the Lord. He created the smith to create the destroyer, so to speak. All right? This is Ezekiel 5:16, and it reads, when I shall send, see, the Lord's going to send them, Yahweh's going to send them. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and I will break your staff of bread. So the Lord's going to take away the food, man. Then he's going to send those glistening arrows. And what's going to happen when that food is gone? Destruction, purging, cannibalism, death and mayhem, chaos. The things you've seen, the violence against the police and authorities that you've seen in these riots in these other countries are going to be like child's play compared to what's going to happen here in America. Why? Because America's all on psychosis drugs and heavily armed.
In conjunction with the ANC ruling party of South Africa, and they're splitting the food and the resources from the contraband.
That is wow. So the white man, so-called white man, Esau Edom, is being pushed off the land that he stole. All right, that's true reparations right there. And they're dividing up his land, his farm animals, his food. This is glorious information right here, to hear that this is happening to the spoiler. If you can't see that the end of the spoiler is now being spoiled, man, you can't. Whew.
So the Chinese have a strong military presence there. I have covered also about the Chinese Silk Road. Well, there's a trusted source I have who was, I hate to call him a refugee, but I think that's what he was. Someone who left South Africa before he could become a victim. And he settled in New Zealand. His name's Aubrey Rocket. He's a pastor, and he has sent me numerous communications through the last several months filled with good information. Some of it contains...
He was a pastor, which means he's a liar. He probably had a bald face, pale skin, and is truly an Edomite. No chance of being a speckled bird. None of that confusion going on. He's just a pure Edomite, holding our book, telling lies with it.
Local publications in Africa that you'll never see here in our mainstream media reporting on military buildup of Russians and Chinese on that continent. Well, there's now been a very disturbing piece of news that Aubrey shared with me, and I'm going to be taking his evidence and putting it up on the Common Sense Show sometime tomorrow. I need to go through, process, look at it, decide what I want to put alongside of it as confirming and collaborative information. But effectively, what we know is the Russians have just placed nuclear bombers on the continent of Africa.
Psalms 144:6. Cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out thine arrows and destroy them.
Well, okay. You're saying, Dave, it's concerning, but I don't know that I jumped off the ledge and say, red alert, the sky is falling. Well, the sky's not falling yet, but it could be falling with Russian nuclear missiles.
That's right. It's going to rain 100,000 or 1,000,000. All right, which comes up to 2 million. It's going to rain ICBM's arrows, just like that scene in the 300. The arrows shall blot out the sun, as he said. It ain't gonna be no proud Edomite saying, well, then we shall fight in the shade. Nah, ain't gonna be none of that. You're gonna be cowering and running. Dumbass niggas gonna be looting. You're gonna have so many missiles in the sky, they're gonna block out the sun, and you're gonna have niggas trying to run up in Nike Town and steal Nikes. Spiggers too. Damn idiots.
let me share with you from the American side what's been happening. And I have been just totally baffled. Trump takes on the entire military-industrial complex and says, we're out of Syria. We're not going to endanger our people. This is not our fight. Blood-stained Middle East. Remember that quote? And then he turns around within about 36 hours and says, well, we're going to keep some of the troops nearby. And then he came out with a baffling statement just recently. And he said, we may have to go to war with Iran.
So the president now said that. But the problem is now is that the other nations don't want to do that. Yeah, because a lot of these people that he wants to go to, he's saying we're going to go to war, but a lot of these people are no longer with him, but with Iran. All right. This is and then another thing that happened, the Trump administration are calling for the arrest of the people who tried to impeach him, saying that they've committed treason in doing so. And then you had the Republicans storm the Democratic convention, and then you also just had some very important people on Trump's administration arrested. Giuliani just got arrested yesterday. So hey, look, when the president's personal lawyer gets arrested along with a couple of other people, hey, if that's not a sign, man, the house is divided. This is Mark 3:25, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. 26, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. We're at the end of Esau's world, man. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow.
And I'm scratching my head saying, President Trump, you've avoided all this. You've said it's their issue. We don't need them. He's responding to the Russian-Chinese threat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what these most recent comments are. It can't be anything else. The president has been duped, which I don't think, or he's been educated based on information I'm getting independent of the American media, information I'm getting independent of the controlled military-industrial complex. I'm getting information that says that President Trump is responding to real military threat. And here's why. Now we're going to break it down and we'll go back to our beginning story. Putin says, well, we'll nuke America if Hillary Clinton's elected. And here's why. I wrote about this just this morning. And I was writing about whether or not Hillary Clinton would use FEMA camps to arrest and detain dissenters.
And they are.
Here's what she's going to do if she becomes president. Based on her comments in debate number 2, in the 2016 presidential debates, Hillary Clinton said, and I quote, we will establish a no-fly zone over Syria and we will deal with the transgressors.
You hear that?
Meaning we're going to shoot down Russian planes. When she said that, I mean, I knew instantly what that meant. I turned to my wife and says, OMG, she's going to start a war with the Russians. And then I hit the airwaves, went to my website, and I published warmonger. But that's not where I stopped today. That was one thing. This is exactly why Putin was going to nuke America had she been elected.
A preemptive strike.
So then I bridged into a second question. If she goes to war with Russia, what's been her thing? Russia, 24/7. Russia. Tulsi Gabbard, Dave Hodges, doesn't matter. Anyone that opposes me is a Russian agent. If we're at war with Russia, that becomes the theme to go after all conservatives and all conservative Christians.
Yep.
And say, Dave, that's kind of a leap. Where's your proof? Well, I put a video up today on thecommonsenseshow.com. And it said quite clearly in her words, oh, these conservatives, oh, they're so uptight. They need to go to a fun camp and be re-educated.
You hear that? And in the midst of World War III, they want to lock people into the camps, mainly you Israelites, but all you American citizens. This is last scripture, and we're going to go to part 2. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 13, and it reads, "For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow; his arrows shall that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Call Halal Yahweh Bashim Abashai Bashim Wakak Wadash Wa Abba Babal.